Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are going to specifically talk about Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and alignment. All right, so actually, there's been a huge debate about this. So basically, I'm going to get right into it, right? I think every Hasbro tabletop role-playing game experience designer like Chris Perkins, people who go into the Hasbro office and write Dungeons & Dragons every single day for a living, they do not want to talk about alignment. Right? They want to take it out of Dungeons & Dragons, right? And so, yes, I really think they do. Now, why? Why would they want to take it out? Well, they're all atheists and agnostics, generally. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who identifies as a Christian within the Hasbro offices that is a Dungeons & Dragons daily designer. Like not a contractor who worked on a book or two, but people who put on their pants, drive into work and get a cup of coffee and begin, literally designing Dungeons & Dragons for Hasbro, right? Those people, I don't think there's a single Christian there. Right? I think they're atheists and they're agnostics. Now this is Christians' fault, right? Like, it's not their fault, right? The reality is Christians are incredibly practical, and almost no Christians in the world can encourage their kids to do anything that's creative. They're like, hey, go learn how to build a bridge, go into tech, become a doctor, no Christians like, hey, go make art. It don't work that way. Like, so it's our fault, right? But the reality, I think the vast majority of Dungeons & Dragons daily designers are atheists and agnostics. So they don't want to ask the question, and guess what? When you play Dungeons & Dragons and you ask the question about your character, am I a good person? Am I a neutral person? Am I an evil person? You really asking that question about yourself first, right? And you can actually juxtapose it, right? So I juxtapose it, right? I'm an evil person. John Scott Garibay. I use J. Scott Garibay. J. Scott Garibay, evil person, straight up. This is not a debate. I am an evil person, right? I am cruel. I'm incredibly selfish. I'm incredibly arrogant, right? The only difference between you and me is I'm saved by Jesus Christ, and and when it comes to the judgment throw, God's gonna be like, hey, Scott, what'd you do during your life? And Jesus is gonna jump in front of me and go, you don't look at his record, you look at mine, right? And that's why I'm saved, right? That's because my parents were wise enough to tell me that, and I listened to my youth group pastor, and he told me how to be saved, which is, admit I'm a sinner, ask Jesus Christ for salvation, and receive salvation. And that's exactly what happened, right? And I'm saved today, but I'm an evil person. A no Hasbro tabletop role-playing game experience, designers, they don't want to answer that question, right? So they desperately want to yank alignment out of the table. And we really thought that we absolutely thought that that alignment was going to disappear, right? And Monsters of Multiverse was a big clue, and there were a lot of people who were like, oh yeah, it's going to get taken out of the game, right? Well, they were wrong, and the reason why is Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen has alignment all over it. It's a battle of good and evil, right? In that battle, they are very serious about, oh yeah, we're in this battle for good and evil, and the reality is they very much were like, hey, what it's gonna, our Tiamat is straight evil, right? And they're like, if you're a Knight of Solamnia, we want you to be good. We want you to uphold the good, heritage of the Solamnians, and so basically it is a battle of good and evil, and alignment is all over it, and it's talked about multiple times in the game. It's a load-bearing wall in Dragonlance, right? So I just want to take a minute, and because this is an ongoing discussion, will alignment be taken out of Dungeons & Dragons? And here's the kicker, right? These tabletop role-playing game experience designers like Chris Perkins, they have two jobs, right? They have multiple jobs, but one of those jobs now is you best sell, right? We're 2 years out from the Great Pandemic, right? And every major global company has been suffering brutally from having to go through the Great Pandemic, through a completely broken global supply chain, and so the reality is they have to get this fixed, right? And here's what's happened, right? They're like, oh yeah, if we pull alignment out, people are gonna this isn't Dungeons & Dragons anymore. And they're right. Gary Gygax put alignment into the game so that we ask the important questions of ourselves. And I think the moment you take alignment out of Dungeons & Dragons, you are removing load-bearing walls that help it to be a human improvement engine, in my humble opinion. So the reality is, we have more evidence in this question on whether alignment is going to be removed from Dungeons & Dragons. Yes, every tabletop role-playing game experienced designer, like Chris Perkins, everybody working in Seattle, they definitely want to tear it out. No two ways about it, right? But they ain't going to be able to, because it's a load-bearing wall, and it ain't Dungeons & Dragons without it. So guess what? Alignment back, baby. Like, we've been going around, like, alignment was in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and then it was pulled out. It was pulled out for books and books and books before that. It was brought back with Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and then they dabbled with it in Monsters of the Multiverse, but that actually still lists alignment. It just changes the typically, right? But Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen is all about alignment, and it's strong evidence that we are absolutely not ever going to be moving away from alignment in Dungeons & Dragons. So I think alignment stays, and I think this is evident. I'm ready to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.